All right, let's talk about something incredibly important today, how to build a rock-solid defense for your IMSS pension. This is all about protecting the money you've spent your entire life earning from a threat that, honestly, you might not even know exists.
So let me just start with a really direct question. Is your pension truly safe? You know, the bedrock of your financial future? What if I told you that a simple, routine administrative process could put everything you've worked for completely at risk? And the reason for this risk is what we're calling the silent pension threat. Now, this isn't about some big fraud scheme. It's actually about modern technology flagging tiny, decades-old errors in old paper files, which then triggers these automated reviews that can have absolutely devastating consequences. Think about it like this. 30, 40 years ago, a little clerical mistake on a piece of paper, it would probably just get filed away and forgotten. But now, oh, it's a completely different world. The IMS is using these powerful digital algorithms that are constantly scanning and cross-referencing data. They don't forget anything, and a tiny little mismatch can suddenly become a massive red flag.
So, how can they even do this? Well, it all comes down to their legal power called the faculty of verification. Basically, it gives the IMSS the authority to go back and re-examine the data your pension was based on at any time. And this is a huge point, especially for anyone under the Ley del 73 plan. That pension resolution you have, it's not untouchable. If they find a flaw in the original data, they can and will act.
And just look at the sheer scale of this problem. We're talking about an estimated 20 million pension files that could have these little administrative time bombs just ticking away inside them. And I want to be super clear here. These aren't fraudsters. These are regular, hardworking people whose files might have an old typo or a forgotten name change, just waiting for an algorithm to find it.
Okay, so theory and numbers are one thing, but what does this actually look like for a real person? Let's talk about a case study. We'll call him Héctor. And his story, which is based on hundreds of very real cases, is a powerful warning of how one small, completely innocent decision can lead to total financial disaster. So here's just how quickly his entire world unraveled. Héctor gets his pension, and like a lot of people, he takes a little temporary job just to make ends meet until the first check comes in. Seems harmless, right? Well, 2 years go by, everything's fine. Then, out of the blue, an inspector shows up. 30 days later, a letter arrives. His pension is suspended. In less than 2 months, he went from feeling secure to facing absolute financial ruin. So what was the tripwire? What was the one thing that set this whole catastrophe in motion? It was this one seemingly innocent question from the inspector. Did you continue working after you were pensioned? And Héctor, being an honest guy, told the truth. He had no idea it wasn't a friendly chat. It was an interrogation, and he'd just handed them the confession they needed.
And the consequences were just brutal. It wasn't just that his pension was suspended. The letter also said the IMSS could now review the original calculation. And that is the real danger here. It's not just about a temporary pause in payments. This opens the door for them to dig through his entire 38-year work history and potentially slash his pension to a permanently lower amount.
Okay, so we've seen the problem, we've seen the very real risk. Now let's get to the most important part of this whole thing, the solution. I want you to think of this next part as your emergency plan, your step-by-step protocol for that exact moment an IMSS inspector shows up at your front door.
When that doorbell rings, your first instinct is probably to just open it. Don't. Your doorframe is a legal boundary. Talk through the closed door or a window first. Ask them to press their ID and the official visit order right up against the glass. While they're doing that, call someone, a family member, a trusted neighbor. You never, ever face this alone. And then you're going to scrutinize that order like a detective.
And here is why you're looking so closely at that piece of paper. This is so important. Any error on that official document, I'm talking a misspelled name, the wrong address, even a tiny incorrect detail, can legally invalidate the entire visit. That gives you the right to politely tell them to come back with a correct order, which buys you incredibly valuable time to get professional help.
Now, what if the paperwork is perfect and they start asking those tricky questions, like they did with Héctor? You need a shield. I want you to memorize this phrase, write it down, keep it by your door. By saying this, you're not being difficult. You're being smart, and you're taking control. They are legally required to write down your response exactly as you say it.
So far, we've been talking about defense, right? How to react when a crisis is already happening. But an even better strategy is prevention. This next part is all about building a proactive plan to make sure you never, ever get that knock on the door in the first place. Here's your action plan. 3 simple things you can start doing this week. First, get online and download your official records. Go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Second, make sure all your personal info is up to date. A wrong address is such a common trigger for suspensions. And third, really consider a preventative audit. Have a specialist lawyer do a health check on your file to find any hidden risks.
And you know, when you lay it all out like this, the choice becomes pretty obvious, doesn't it? Doing nothing might cost you $0 today, but it puts your entire lifetime of income at risk. A preventative review costs a small, one-time fee. So don't think of it as an expense. Think of it as the best insurance policy you could ever buy for your financial future. That peace of mind, that's priceless.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial takeaway from all of this. It's about really understanding the nature of the system you're dealing with and why, unfortunately, your good intentions just don't matter.
You have to remember this. The IMSS audit system is a machine. It is completely impersonal. It doesn't care if you're an honest person or if you simply made a mistake because you didn't know the rules. All it does is compare data points. And if those data points don't match up perfectly, it acts. Your only real defense is to have a flawless file.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Your pension isn't a gift. It's not a handout. It's a right that you earned through a lifetime of hard work. But it's also a right that you now have to actively guard. So the question is, isn't it time you took ownership and started actively protecting it?